Hello and welcome to Web of Light. I am one of your co-hosts, Lori Powers Otto, and this is Dr. Kevin.
Hi. I got another degree, or we swapped, did the body swap thing? What's going on here?
Oh, what? Are you saying, did my dyslexia kick in again?
Yes, you're Dr. Kevin. I'm Lori Powers Otto, also a doctor, but you know.
Hey, at least you got the name right this time. I'm so happy you got the name right. Welcome to Web of Light. As this is our last taping show today that we're doing live on Facebook, our first time of doing this in our second month of our fourth season, and we're welcoming you here. If you go to facebook.com/mydrkevin, MYDRKEVIN, you can like the page. You can also leave a comment, and you can watch us. I want to say hello to Elizabeth Towns, who's watching us right now. Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining us today. And so if you have comments or questions for Lori, myself, or our guest, please feel free to just post it there on the Facebook. I'll be checking it throughout the show. And as long as it's respectful, we will repeat it and share it on air. If you are just joining us and this is the first time you've been on Web of Light, I know that we're constantly adding stations from Maine to California. Being now coast to coast with the public access channel. We don't always get told. So please send us an email, drkevin@weboflight.com. Let us know you've joined our Web of Light family, and we're happy to have you. And let us know what topics you'd like us to cover, what kind of things you would like us to share on air with you, because now that you're a part of the family, you get a vote. And we'd love to hear what your vote is. So Lori, what's up?
It's been a very exciting summer now that it's over.
You mean now that you survived it?
Yes. I'm very much looking forward to fall. As you know, we've discussed, I wrote the book. I got some charity events coming up this fall, and I'm excited about those. And other than that, we're still just doing house improvements.
Oh.
You know.
I know all about house improvements.
Yeah.
We just bought a new house. And it's an old house. It's a new house to us, but she's 118 years old, and she creaks in some awful funny places.
She's got some great bones, your house does.
She absolutely does have some great bones, and we're thrilled to have her, and she's going to be well loved. I'm going to go ahead and start with our inspirational story of the show, and then we're going to introduce today's guest.
Okay.
So when the manager of the North Carolina Walmart heard about Shelley Tench's mission to help Hurricane Florence victims, he opened up his own wallet so he could contribute over $1,000 to the cause.
Wow, that's wonderful.
With $50 in her pocket, Tench first went to the Walmart in Garner earlier this month with the intention of spending the last of her money on T-shirts and underwear for the local hurricane relief disaster. The shelter told that while people were able to take hot showers at their facility, they usually did not have clean clothes that they could change into. So Trench was determined to spend her $50 on clothes. She went into Walmart, asked to speak to the manager to see if she could get any kind of discount or support in this charitable cause of hers. He took an associate and a cart and said, fill it up, and he paid the rest of the bill.
Wow, that's wonderful.
$1,251 later.
Wow, that is
They were
wonderful.
able to deliver 254 items of clothing to the evacuees. The story doesn't end there, though. The manager actually texted to see if the shelter needed anything else. It said it needed food and different things. They ended up donating case after case after case of apples, oranges, bananas, Onshore, Boost, Gatorade, and Cliff Bars, pastries, bread, and cookies. She said her van was loaded to the top. The outpouring of love and support from Walmart was unbelievable. And Walmart as a company has additionally offered to donate $2 for every dollar donated to their Hurricane Florence Relief Fund, which has already raised over $7.5 million.
My relatives and friends and families in the Carolinas, thank everybody who's helped out. You know, most of the people I know were lucky, but there were a few that lost a lot.
Well, and you know,
So thank you.
Win, lose, or draw, there's a lot of different things about people say negatively about Walmart, and it puts a lot of companies out of business and things like that. And I don't dispute any of those. And I have had my own issue with Walmart through the years, though I have to say it hasn't stopped me at times of buying stuff there when I needed it, and it was the best place to get it. All that being said, I think it is good to recognize when they do charitable work, and that this particular manager took money out of his own pocket to show up, and so to show that humanity is still basically good and wants to help each other, no matter what the what did Rona, when she was on this morning, bleed to lead media wants us to believe?
Yeah.
That if you want to lead up on a story, someone's going to be bleeding or nobody cares. I don't think that's the truth, and that's why we try to share an inspirational story every day that we
More good out there
on
than
here
you think.
Web of Light. One of the last things before we introduce today's guest and bring him on is I do want to say, you said you had family and friends here in the Carolinas, as do I, and actually lived down in part of that area once upon a time. And one of the conversations that came up in a post that was particularly touching to me, that somebody made, touching to me in a way of not like touching like made me feel good, but actually touching made me feel a little irritated, but in a good way, was somebody whose brother was a first responder that lived in North Carolina, that really said before, when they're asking people to evacuate, please don't put my brother's life at risk because you want to ride the hurricane, because you want to prove that whatever you need to prove or whatever your story is. There are a lot of first responders that go out there regardless, and they put their life on the line because you made a stupid choice. You were given days to go away. You were given places to stay, an option to get there, and you decided that you could risk somebody else's life if you got in deep kimchi.
They don't think of it like that. They don't think of it like that. They think they're just doing their thing. They don't realize how many lives they put at risk by doing their thing.
Well, I have said this before, and people have not I've got negative feedback from it, but I am going to say it again. I think when they have a situation like this, they know they've got an incoming hurricane. I think they should go around to everybody that says they're going to stay. They should sign a release form that says, I refuse any and all first aid until the storm is over. If you're going to stay,
It's not a bad idea.
why should somebody else have to go risk their life because you just decided you were going to man up and put it out? I think that that's very disrespectful. People that couldn't leave, people that ended up in emergencies, that's what the first responders are there for. They're not there to save the stupid. May sound harsh.
No, but you're right. And I know that people will be going, wow, that was really mean, but it's not. It's you have to look at everybody, and resources are so scattered during a big disaster like a hurricane. They don't have time to be, the family that decided to stay on the island because they just wanted to. Well, we're prepared, we're safe. No, but when you're not safe, nobody can get to you without being in danger. So just leave. Just pack up and leave,
Yeah, and I'm staying so I can protect my house. If the hurricane is destroying your house, you're not saving it.
Anything, right? You can't protect from a hurricane. You've done everything you can. You've put your wood up or your shutters down or whatever. What else is it that you think you can do?
Yep. Okay, so now, many research studies suggest that musculoskeletal pain in the United States is at an all-time high than it was 40 years ago, and 54.5% of U.S. adult population experienced a musculoskeletal disorder in 2012. Lenny Levin, the founder of Wellness and Beyond, raised a question why current concepts of injury and treatment and prevention are failing to produce successful outcomes. He went on to do quite a bit of research, and he went out on a mission 8 years ago to improve the current injury assessment and treatment protocols to include all three main systems responsible for human movement. I'm going to stop reading about him, and I'm going to introduce you to him as he shares his journey, what he's discovered, and what you may want to know that could be helpful to yourself or loved one that may be struggling with musculoskeletal pain. Lenny, welcome. Did I get your last name right or did I screw it up?
Yeah, this is right, yeah.
Oh, good, good.
You're doing fine.
We all know that I'm a little
Yeah.
tricky when it comes to the names.
I know that I can count on you.
So, Lenny, you started this, I'm going to call it a crusade.
Right.
You started this crusade.
I didn't know that I was starting a crusade. It was humble beginnings.
Oh, okay.
So humble beginnings were that I, at some point of my life, I mean, it was in 1997, I decided to jog. And there was no particular reason, a goal, that it would come out of this. And I had no goal or a reason to do it. I just started jogging. And one day I saw an ad in the newspaper. At that time, there was no internet. And I saw a race taking place in downtown Boston, 5 miles. And I decided I'm going to do the race. And I did it. I had no training. I didn't know what I'm doing. And I finished the race. In the end, it was so hard that I was counting the posts because I had no training. I didn't know how to run, but I didn't want to just walk. I want to finish my running. So it turned out I showed a pretty good time for a novice. And after that, I started running regularly. And what happened afterwards, I wanted to find out how I can make this easier for my body, because running, as everybody knows, is very hard if you don't know how to run properly. After that, I I expanded my physical activities, and I got into doing triathlons, which is swimming, biking, and running. And I thought that if I do the cross training, then it will take the toll of running alone, and it's going to help me. In the beginning it was, but then it got into the same problem. I could not sustain a condition that it would be healthy, and I didn't feel that the body was building up. It was just all willpower, and as long as you finish, you feel that you probably gave not 100%, 110%. And the training became very like a roller coaster. I would finish a race, and I think that it was good, and I was running a very decent time for my age. For example, I ran 5K under 19 minutes at my age.
And what age was that?
That was 49.
Okay.
So, and then I also ran a marathon at 59, and also I've done a half Ironman, which is half of the full Ironman. I don't know whether you know.
I know what the Ironman is. I don't know. Do you know Ironman, Lori?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ironman is swimming 1.2 mile, running, biking 56, and run a half marathon. And after that, I finished it, and I finished again a pretty good time. But I knew that if I continue doing what I'm doing, the body is not going to hold, and eventually it's going to break down.
Now, how old were you when you did the half Ironman?
Half Ironman.
Because you went 49, 59. I'm waiting.
Yeah, I think it was 2004. So that was 56.
Oh, okay.
So in other words, I started with the shorter distances, and then I went up to a half Ironman. And then when I started talking around and looking around and reading around, the answer was one. If you want to run faster, you have to run more. If you want to bike faster, you have to bike more. And I usually don't take for answer anything for granted. So I started looking around, and I eventually it was an extension of what I was doing. I became a trainer in one of the local clubs in Boston sports clubs. And then when I came, I didn't pay attention when I was training myself. When I started training people, I found that there was no results. People come regularly, they exercise, but there's no result. And even worse, in the end, when they get, not in the end, but when they get older, the body is breaking down.
Well, you know, there was something you said at the beginning, which is, you know, that everybody knows that running is hard on your body. But I think that's a fallacy. I think a lot of people have idealized running and aren't necessarily aware how tough running can be on your body until they get their first injury, until the first splint, until they start having problems. And sometimes by the time, because there's a certain, if you're going to run marathons, if you're going to run these type of things, you expect your body to ache. You expect that your body's going to hurt because you've just done this. And I think that a lot of people go out and don't know that crossover line from maybe a good hurt where I'm getting in shape or actually building my body to a bad hurt until it gets so bad you then can't do it anymore. So I think that I don't think that there is a lot of education out there a lot of times. I don't know, would you agree, Lori?
Well, I would, only because this is reminding me, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I've had a lot of musculoskeletal issues. But my husband was a runner and I wanted to start running, so I started with a very, very basic program. But every time I would start running, and this is going to sound weird, I would break a toe. It had to have been God's way of telling me, you're not a runner, don't run. Because I broke one toe like 3 times.
I see.
Are you sure that wasn't God's way of saying don't stop chasing that man?
No. That's
Kevin,
my man.
you brought a very good point, and and this is actually directly relates to what I discovered. So eventually, I started studying the science of human movement and functional anatomy. And what I found, and one of the highlights of this discovery, is that we don't understand properly how the body is designed to move. And it turns out, which probably for anybody is shocking, especially in my case, when I discovered that, and since I was a trainer, so I was training people that it's a good idea to run, and say, Lenny, please, leave me alone, leave us alone, all of us. Because I run, my knees hurt, my back hurts, and everything hurts. And you telling me that it's not supposed to? Yeah, because if you learn how the body is supposed to run, and anatomically designed to run, then it would be no pain. And eventually I found out why. And one of the reasons is that the way we understand that the body is supposed to move, we only know that we're supposed to use our muscles. See, and everything is about the muscular system. And that also relates to all the professional people who do the training, who do injury treatments. They only treat the muscles. But the way this science is, the human kinesiology and functional anatomy states very clearly that for human movement to take place, 3 major systems within the human body must work together. The joint action of three
Musketeers?
No, yeah, actually, yeah. You can say the 3 Musketeers. Yeah, that's a good point. 3 Musketeers. And one of them is critical, is the your skeleton. And what happens then, if skeleton is out of alignment, then muscles cannot work properly. And as a result, you're forcing unnatural and dysfunctional movement, and you lead the body into dysfunction and to injury. So, and once I found that, then I started practicing. And what happened afterwards that I basically started getting people or clients who was injured and who wanted to get better. But the problem is that in order for you to get to build the fitness, you need to restore your functional capacity first. Because if you come and you start working in the fitness, then all you're going to do, you're going to probably aggravate.
Exacerbate the issue.
You aggravate your conditions even worse. And this is what happens time after time after time. And as the word started spreading around, I started getting people with serious problems. One was had a swollen knee and two frozen shoulders. So he went to the doctors, to his doctors, and what happened that they said that there's nothing we can do. We can give you a shot, and if the pain doesn't go away, it's a surgery.
Yeah. They love their
He was-
knives.
yeah,
They sure do.
he was scheduled to, when we started working, he was scheduled for 3 surgeries.
Wow.
Swollen the knee and 2 frozen shoulders. After 2 months of functional therapy, which is the alternative to physical therapy, he didn't need it.
That's wonderful.
Which I'm sure that Western medicine said was impossible.
Right,
Of course.
of course.
Yes.
Anything that's not in their purview that they can do, and this is changing. This is definitely changing. But one of the things we often do on this show, Lenny, is, I will invite my viewers, our viewers, to know the difference between your MD, that's your minor deity, who wants you to bow at the altar, do exactly what they say, and if they don't know it, then it's not worth knowing. And your managing director, who says, bring me all the information you have, and I'm going to work it out with you, and I'm your partner in your healing process. This number of managing director MDs is going up ever so slowly, but it's going up. But you still have a lot of pray at my altar, and if I tell you to die on Friday, you better be dead by midnight type of attitude in their Western medicine. So I'm sure that they didn't like you.
Right.
Well, the thing is that I don't really talk to them directly, but I do get referrals from physicians. I had a client who is a primary care physician. And after working with me, he went to his practice and he started sending his clients to me, because he knew that if he's going to send them to physical therapy or a fitness club or a personal trainer, nothing, and probably is going to aggravate the conditions more. And this is what the whole thing is, that we need to connect our mind and our bodies, our mind and the body, and work it together. Because the idea that people go to the gym and go on a treadmill or go on a stationary bike, open a book, this is really harmful, because the body requires the brain to control the muscles and work the muscles. Without the brain, it cannot work. And if you do that, then you basically forcing the body to act in a random way, and usually it would lead to some kind of dysfunction.
So, first of all, I want to send kudos to that doctor, because these are the kind of doctors I like to hear about. These are the ones I like to celebrate, that are willing to open their mind, stay in, and do what's in the best interest of their patient. So, good for him. Second, you said that there were 3 parts to it.
3 systems.
The 3 systems. You mentioned the muscle and the skeletal.
So everybody, every human body has a skeleton,
Yes,
right?
that's one.
And that's one. And then everybody has muscles.
And that's 2.
And then the third one is the nervous system.
Okay. Well, that would, yeah, you didn't actually say it, so I wanted to get it out there. So when you have the nervous system, the muscular system, and skeletal system, when you have the 3 musketeers all working together, it's a good time. And if you have one of them that's a little off, then you get a sword stuck in you.
That's right. Yeah, and then the
Called
alignment,
pain.
yeah, and the alignment, especially the skeletal alignment, becomes the key. If, for example, if you visualize the skeleton, and as a matter of fact, I brought some pictures of that. I don't know whether we could.
No, because we didn't get the. I don't think we didn't get the pictures in actually in time for them to be putting them up.
Okay. All right. So then imagine you probably visualize a skeleton. There's legs, there's a lower body, upper body, then the rib cage, shoulders, and the neck, and the head. And the way it is that if there's a slight misalignment on your foot, then that misalignment is going to go all the way, all line to your shoulders, into your neck, and it's going to keep the body misaligned that way. So everything is connected. So all joints, all muscles are interconnected between each other. And if we don't understand it, and we're going to move the muscles, then it's going to force a misalignment of the skeletal system, because the muscles don't work properly. They're not going to make muscles work properly. They're going to make muscles work improperly. And as a result, the body getting dysfunctional and can lead to.
And that's exactly what happened to me. It turned out that my ankle was locked up. So when I would try to run, my foot couldn't move properly, which is why that toe would
Right.
break. But it took finding a very special physical therapist, because I'd been to several that did nothing. And then I found one, and he's like, well, the problem's your ankle. I'm like, and I've been fine since.
But you're not running, right?
I do not run by
Yeah.
choice. I do not run by choice.
So, but this is what the thing is. But what I discovered as a result of my research, that the body, human body, is anatomically designed to run. And this is a proof of it, that if you see elite runners run, then what happens that they run with the good stride and very fast. But they didn't. The fact that I'm saying is that the body is anatomically designed to run, because they run very efficiently and very fast, but they didn't study functional anatomy. I can't say for anybody, all runners in the world, that somebody said, but I don't think any of those study functional anatomy, which means that the body is naturally, for them, because we don't know why, but some people have this natural alignment and natural functioning of their muscles when they're born, and and they can keep it. But it's very rare, and because it's only elite percentage of the all runners, and but the fact that if they do it and do it more efficiently, then the body does it. It can do it naturally. But the point is that what you need to know, you need to learn how the body does it, rather than go to the training of which is the way the training now is, that it's talking about mileage. So you want to run a race, they're going to tell you this is the program, and you need to run X amount of miles to build up and make your legs stronger, which is not the case.
Well, you've brought out a few different interesting points I want to comment on. So the first one is, how much do you think that us becoming so highly specialized in medicine has contributed to what you're talking about, and has overall been damaging to people who are getting care from Western medicine? That your foot doctor is clueless about your shoulder, and even, you know, I'm saying doctors, but you go to a trainer and they train you on your muscles, but know nothing about your skeletal system and nothing about your nervous system. And so it's like we've tried to chop the body up in little parts, and either, you know, you deal with my elbows and you deal with my ankles and you deal with my ears, and we pretend as if all of our parts are functioning independently of each other and have no effect. And that's gotten increasingly worse. If you have a problem, you can get 5 recommendations to go to 5 different specialists.
Right.
I'm waiting for the day that you go in and they go, okay, well, we have one specialist for the big toe and one specialist for the middle toe, and then there's a little piggy who went woo 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 woo, and they got a specialist.
And then a specialist for the knee is
Yeah.
in another state, right?
Yeah. So how much of
Yeah.
this has contributed into
Doesn't
this
really
kind of loss of? Do you think has contributed to the loss of this?
That's
and these issues?
that's one of the main reasons that what is happening. And the thing is that also there's a notion of, which also you bring a very good point about injuries, which at this point common belief is that all injuries are inevitable, and they all attribute it to aging. So in other words, you go to a doctor and you're going to tell him that, well, I'm 50, for example, years old, and I'm getting injuries. And he says, what do you want? I mean, you're not 20 years old anymore. You're going to get injured. But this is a real misconception, because if you maintain, you know how to maintain skeletal and muscular alignment, then you wouldn't get injured. You don't have to.
Now, so I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to be very rude here. You're 70 now?
Yes.
Okay. I was just doing the math from what you told me. Are you still running? Are you doing this?
Yes.
Tell me what your
As a matter of
physical
fact,
life is.
me is a very good example. I was always very aware not to hurt my body. At the time when I started, I didn't know functional anatomy, and I was careful at that point. But then as I started learning it, I started practicing functional movement and restoring my functional capacity for myself. So I'm not the only, all my clients are not the only victims, because it's not a simple process. Once it's broken up, then to restore it, it becomes a process. It can't be a series of exercises and you're all set. You have to go through the process before you can restore your functional capacity or functional movement. So I was restoring my functional movement, and as a result, I started doing it in '97. So now it's over 20 years, and have not been injured.
And you are still very physically active.
I'm still doing long distance running, and I still do triathlons.
Nice.
So you're 70 years old, you're doing triathlons, you're not getting the injuries that 20-year-olds are getting.
Right.
So, really the response to the doctor is, you're right, I'm not a 20-year-old, I'm smarter now. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't need you, go away.
Right.
So, explain
in other
more
words, the doctor is going to tell me you're very boring.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
very
yes.
boring.
Yeah.
I don't know what a doctor would tell me because I don't go to one. So, so if I were to come to you because you keep on talking about functional
Movement.
Okay. So I'm coming to you and I'm saying I'm dysfunctional, but we'll get past the fact that we're talking about my life. What would you say to me if I walked into your office? What would you say? What would you do? Are these questions? You say they're not exercises. I'm trying to understand better. What would my joyride be if I came to your office?
Okay, so what I'm going to tell you that first we have to go through a stage called functional movement awareness, meaning that you, at this point, you don't know what some of the parts of the body, you don't even know that they exist.
Okay.
And as a result, you're using other parts of the body, and they would compensate for the ones you're not using it. So then the first would be you're going to learn basic awareness where the parts are and what they're designed for. And then the next stage would be to start moving them, and that you would start getting and developing connection between your mind and your body and muscles and joints.
You want my body to talk to my mind and muscles?
That's right, yes.
They've been on the outs for years.
That's right. I know, but see, but then the question is, and I'm going to quote one of my clients. He told me, Lenny, do you know why I'm here? Why I'm working with you? I said, why? He says, I want to change my own Pampers.
Oh,
You want to change your own Pampers.
That's right.
Okay, so so something that you teaches contortionists, contortionism.
Right, yeah. So I buy a set of, a pack of Pampers. I bring to the session, and I tell them you're going to change it yourself.
There you go. So can you give me some little example? Like, is there, because again, am I just being brain dead here? But I'm kind of
I think we need to give people a better visual.
Understand visual. So
Yeah.
one thing that I can give you an example is the shoulder girdle. So you probably don't even know that you have a shoulder girdle, correct?
I haven't worn a girdle in years. No.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a shoulder girdle.
Anyways, go ahead.
But that area relates to problems with the shoulders. So assume you came or somebody else comes and they have a shoulder problem. So what happens that the reason it happened that your chain of the interconnected muscles and joints is not functioning properly. One of the links is not functioning, and it means that the whole chain is compromised.
Okay.
And the chain is that we have a shoulder joint, we have an elbow, we have a wrist joint, and then we have it's connected to the shoulder blade.
Okay.
So then that chain needs to be in place, and it needs to be connected to for you to move the arm. And if you, for example, do weightlifting, it needs to be fully all interconnected links needs to work together, and at the same time.
If it wants to do weightlifting, it needs to find a new home.
Right.
So now, because I've done a ton of chiropractic in my life. I get massages as often as I can squeeze them in. I have had rolfing done, which deals with the myofascia tissue and the restructuring. So my girdle, my girdle is showing, and it needs to be tightened up or whatever. So again, what action would I take to do that?
Yes. So basically, maybe I can get up and show it to you.
You can get up if you can get up gently. I know you're attached to a mic. We weren't planning on having you get up, but you can. We just want to make sure that the mic kind of goes with you. So just, I know you have your own show, so you know how this mic thing works.
Okay. So the mic. So maybe the other thing is that maybe to put the mic somewhere here, then
Yeah.
I
Go, yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you can move it.
We're going to be brave on this show.
I don't know where else she
I'm not
poked it.
looking over at my window because I'm sure that probably I'm getting the I'm going to kill you sign. So welcome back. Hopefully you stayed with us. Lenny is going to fix my girdle,
Yes.
my shoulder girdle. So now I'm your client. You've assessed in functional.
Let's say that you came with the shoulder problem.
Okay.
And I'm going to explain you what's involved.
Okay.
And how to fix it.
Great.
Okay, shoulder girdle. So the shoulder girdle involves the shoulder blades and your collarbone.
Okay.
That's the shoulder girdle.
Yep.
So now what we need to do, we need to align your arm with the shoulder blade.
Okay.
So do you know where, first of all, I'm going to show you how I do it, and then you can see visually where, how to mimic or how to repeat what I did. So first,
Also repeat what he did.
yeah, that's right,
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
that's right.
I mimic you.
Yeah, mimic you. So first, I'm going to show you two versions of the shoulder girdle, aligned and misaligned.
Okay.
So if right now my shoulder girdle is misaligned, so put with that arm down.
Push it down.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
See, it's not holding,
Yep.
right? So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna align the shoulder girdle, and you're gonna try to put it down again.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do this to put it down.
Oh, much stronger.
So you can put it down.
Yeah.
Try to use force. See it?
No.
So as you see, I'm not trying to collect all my muscles to hold the arm. Because
Okay.
I was pretty relaxed because my alignment was in place. So what we're going to do here, we need to align your shoulder with the shoulder blade. Do you know what the shoulder blade is?
Yeah, the shoulder blade is back here.
So then just raise your arm like
Okay.
this. Just
So-
no, but first we're going to do what I did. Just raise your arm a little. So then, oh, but you're already trying. He's fast. He's a quick study. He's already holding. No, but just don't hold tight. Just relax, like I like it. Relax it.
Okay.
So it's not holding.
Yeah.
So now what we're going to do, we're going to try to connect the shoulder with the shoulder blade, and then it's going to hold.
Okay.
It's going to hold your shoulder girdle, and it's going to be in the proper alignment.
Okay.
So let's do. See? Okay. So this is. Do you feel connection?
Yep.
So
You've made my so you can see what I'm in, so you can hear what I'm experiencing because it may not be easy to see. Is he put my mental focus into my shoulder girdle and made me aware of it, so that I was then
Right.
So it's a head process.
That's
to do
right.
this.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a mind. Conceptually, it's a mind and body connection.
Okay.
And you aware now of your shoulder girdle. So the idea of aligning the shoulder girdle is that avoid when you lifting your arms, whatever you do, then you don't want to do this. You want to do like that.
Okay.
So in other words, you're going to be always connected with the shoulder girdle.
Okay.
I'm sorry, with the shoulder blade.
Okay.
And then, for example, if you're lifting, then it would be that movement as opposed to if you go in the gym, you're going to see people doing
Yeah.
and that type of movements or this type of movement. So everything should be connected to the shoulder blade, and this is the first stage. And then the second stage of it, we become more advanced and more aware. Then you want to connect this with your center, which is the abdominal muscles. So if you, but this takes longer period of time because since you haven't been aware in the past, then connect with your
Core.
Yeah, with your core. So then, ideally, it's later it becomes more complex, meaning more involved. But one way is, on this stage of functional awareness, is thinking about connecting with your belly button.
Yeah.
So then, when you lift the arm, you feel that it's connected. Then it's going to hold. It's going to hold your rib cage, and wouldn't allow the rib cage to collapse and forward.
Okay. So when I do that, I also stabilize
Correct. That's
Here.
right. Yes, yeah. Now you engage your center
Okay.
for your movements,
Okay.
and this is this part needs to be involved in any movement, whether it's your arms, whether it's your leg, whether you rotating the body. The center and the abdominal complex here needs to be engaged all the time.
Okay. Now, the little thing you just showed me would be like if my shoulders were hurting, this might be a solution for it.
That's right. See, if I was lifting and doing my movements this way, then all load was on the shoulder, and the shoulder is not supposed to carry all the load when you move your arms. It's pretty weak. The shoulder joint is not strong, and that's why people getting injured, because shoulder girdle is not part of the equation, if you will.
Okay. You take the girdle off, it flops all over the place.
That's right.
And,
Right, and this is also the posture. What people see posture, it's not really posture. It's alignment issue. So because posture is too general, and you can't really train posture because brain doesn't know the body, so it becomes more involved that the brain doesn't know body segments. So brain doesn't know arms, doesn't know legs, doesn't know back, doesn't know hips. It knows only that chain and how it's supposed to connect all of them in one unit.
my body doesn't know my arms, my legs.
Right, yeah.
How did I get stuck with such a dumb brain?
Right, so, but...
That's an arm.
yeah, so... And,
Leg. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, so, because to explain this in simple terms, it would be to raise your arm, it's not just raising your arm. It's going to be that set of muscles for the lower arm, then it would be a set of muscles for the upper arm, and there will be a set of muscles for the shoulder joint, and there will be a set of muscles for the shoulder blade. And this is what the brain does. It's very sophisticated. You don't give yourself enough credit. Your brain.
Oh. And he dishes back.
In other words, all you need to do, you need to really let your brain to work the way it's supposed to be. And now I can give you an example. I had a client who was referred by that physician. She was 80 years old, and she had a long list of ailments. And as a matter of fact, I've been with her more than 2 years, and by 2 years, I didn't even know. Every time she comes, it turns out she has
A different one.
a different one. So, and on one of the sessions, she told me that, Lenny, you know what I learned the most important lessons from you? The most important lesson from you? I said, what? She said that you have to take responsibility for your own body.
Nice.
Amen.
See,
Amen.
and she totally relied on completely like a obedient sheep. Whatever they told her, she would follow with no questions.
Mindlessly.
Mindlessly,
follow.
yeah. So no questions, no arguments, no thinking. Just do whatever they said. And as a result, the body became seriously dysfunctional. Plus, because if your skeletal system and muscular system are not doing well, then it's all connected with the nervous system, then it drags your mind down for that reason.
Oh,
so
yeah.
she was seriously depressed as well. Also, she came on a cane when we started working. And one day, she tells me that, Lenny, you know, I didn't take my cane. And I was walking around and people saying, what happened? Because she really, because 80 years old and she was literally going down the hill and she was pressed to the wall because if she doesn't do anything, then...
Yep. Quality of life.
Yeah, quality of life. So, and she, for that reason, she was coming 4 times a week. That motivation.
Ah.
And
You sure it wasn't just because she didn't have a crush on you?
well, that's a crush. That's actually happened too, but yeah, because I don't know whether we're probably running out of time, but I don't want to tell these stories. But and you probably want to cut it, but because I don't want to. If somebody finds out that I told public about
The crush?
yeah, the crash, and then that's just. But point is that she did get rid of the cane,
Yep.
and was able to walk, and relatives were very happy that she was able to walk, because before walking was a problem, and she felt a lot better, because now she starts seeing some light in the tunnel as opposed to.
Absolutely. So, Lori, any
Yes.
thoughts, ideas, questions, comments for?
For Lenny? Well, you know, actually, I have to say thank you,
You're welcome.
because this is something that and I don't have your training background or anything, but I have been trying to tell people for years, when I used to teach health and wellness, that everything's connected, and you have to listen to your body, and you have to be in alignment, and you have to, make sure things line up. Because like I said, I used to have horrible musculoskeletal issues. Walking was a problem, everything was, but once I became aware of my body, and I started doing Pilates, because they make you focus on, like you said, your shoulder girdle or whatever. It's tremendous, the difference in my body. So I thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sure you've helped so many people, and I just think that's a
Yeah, it was
wonderful
my
thing.
pleasure to be here, and I'm hopefully that this is people going to see and going to spread word around that injuries are not inevitable, and you could, if you learn how the body functions, then you could have a good quality of life. You can participate in any physical activity that you wish, and you also, as a result of it, you're not going to die. In other words, my focus is because people are asking me, what is your next race? And I tell them, my next race is 15 years from now, because I wanted to be able to do it when I'm, and I don't want to get hurt, and I want to do it in pain because I'm a hero. So I want to, and for people who don't want to race, the idea is, the difference is between how do you want to live? Do you want to live in pain and die in pain, or you want to minimize your pain to a point that you can have a much better life, a much better quality of life?
Well, we want to. Okay, so we want to thank Lenny Levin. We have. We've been showing you his website off and on the whole time. At the end, you also see he has a YouTube channel. He has a lot of YouTube stuff out. So at the end credits, you can go there. You can also come to this live, and there'll be a write-up, and there will be links through to his information here as well. Lenny Levin, wellnessandbeyond.net. Lenny, thank you for coming and sharing that knowledge with us. So, whether you're 80 or 8 or 18 or 88, it's never too late or never too early to create a better relationship with your body. We put a lot of emphasis sometimes on the mind, the heart, and the soul. But the mind and the heart and the soul all can be negatively impacted if the body isn't along for the ride. For years as a medical intuitive, I've always told my people that the body is the repository for mental, emotional, and spiritual imbalance. But on the other hand, if you have no relationship with your body and you don't let your body talk to you and you listen to it, then your body will make sure that your journey reflects the limitations you had in your relationship to it. Namaste.